morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. And today we are going back behind my Spotify. This time around, we are going to be going over my top 10 albums of the year. This is a thing we do every year where we go over the playlists I've made of all the albums that I've listened to and that I've loved. And I call the playlist Reality, which is like, there's reality and then, the reality of all the music I listen to, I guess is why I call it Reality. But this is Reality 2025. This is was kind of wasn't a hard year to pick albums. I think next year is probably going to be harder, but this year was pretty decisive. I thought there was going to be more albums coming out this year, but I guess I was wrong in saying that. But a lot of good albums, and I am just looking forward to get into this because we got a lot to cover in this. So I'm just going to get right into it. We are going to start off with album number 10. I picked 10 albums. I'm going to go over... So basically how this works is I'm going to go over each album, just talk about my top fives and what I rate them. And that's kind of how we're going to start this thing off. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so the first album we are going to be jumping into, this is number 10. It's like... It made the top 10 of my albums of the year. And even though it's at the bottom, it doesn't mean I like it any less. It's just where I place things. All the albums are in their own place for a reason because, there's something I didn't like about the album or there's stuff I liked better about an album above it. But the first album we are going to be jumping into is Set It Off's self-titled record. So I actually have the physical copies of all of the albums, and which is really cool. But yeah, so Set It Off, their self-titled record is really good. There's a lot of songs on here that have already been released, but apparently they are independent, which is really cool. I didn't know that. But yeah, and then there's the actual the opening of the CD, pretty cool. I like having physical media for the reason I did this whole reality series is because I just like having physical copies of CDs to listen to in the car. So, but basically, my requirements for the album of the year are pretty basic. Be good, for one, and have a CD. Those are my requirements. I like physical copies. If it's just a digital album, I mean, it's not going to make my top 10. I have requirements for these things, But yeah, so Set It Off, we'll just get into it here. Just starting off at the bottom, talking about my top 5 songs off this album. Wolf in Sheep's Clothing Reborn. I think the original version is, I don't know, it's too playful, but Reborn feels heavier and I like it a lot. There's a lot of stuff that surprises me on this album. For one, the vocalist, which I think his name is Cody, him screaming or rapping on this album is really cool. Those are my favorite moments of this album, and it feels like a self-titled record. These are this is what made them. These songs. Evil People is another good one. I love the line where he says, evil people, and I don't trust a single one of y'all. I like that a lot. That line stood out for me the most. Pathological and Rotten are I like them a lot because of the rap verses in the beginning. I think is really cool. And I just like the vibe of the song. But my number one, so Pathological being number 3. So number 5 is Wolf in Sheep's Clothing Reborn. Number 4 is Evil People. Number 3 is Pathological. Number 2 is Rotten. And at number 1 is Punching Bag. Punching Bag is probably the best song that I've heard from Set It Off. And I haven't listened to their whole discography, but dude, that's such a solid song. I love that song. It's so cool. But yeah, and then overall for the record, I feel like I'd give this record a 7 out of 10, just because there's songs every single song has its own thing that makes it its song. Each song has its own identity, but I don't like every single song off of the record. But yeah, I don't know. Every song feels like a journey to go through, a little adventure. Every song has its own little thing that it's got. And I think that's what makes this record, they're self-titled. I think it's really good. It is a solid record. But yeah, 7 out of 10 for Set It Off. Really cool record. Now, moving on to the next record, which this was a last minute one that I decided to listen to, and I wasn't going to listen to it at first. I kind of just skipped it because I was just like, well, I don't know, because like I was waiting for albums to drop and then nothing was coming, so I was just like, I might as well listen to this, see how I feel. This is the album number 9 on the charts here on the list is Never Tell, Start Again. Now, I've never listened to Never Tell, so this is a new... Set It Off, I guess, is new for Album of the Year here, too. But, like, Never Tell, I've never listened to. I've heard Set It Off here and there, but, like, Never Tell... It's a first for these two bands being on my Albums of the Year. But, like, Never Tell, super cool artwork, by the way. Pretty sick. I've never listened to them, and this is the first time I've listened to their work. And bangers. Like, literally all of the songs I pretty much like. It's kind of the same with Set It Off, where, like... There's some songs I prefer, but like there's some songs I really like. So just going over this, freaking like it's just a solid record. It's actually really solid. And I thought I wasn't gonna like it when it first like when I first like clicked play. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. But yeah, Never Tell it surprised me a lot because it's like there's like a heavier vocalist and then there's a rapper on this. It's almost like a Linkin Park kind of vibe, which is cool. Considering last year Linkin Park did make my album of the year, so that was really cool. But yeah, Never Tell, Start Again. So my top 5 songs off of this record are Miles Apart, which I like Miles Apart because there's a lot of rap with it. Number 4, Did It All. Number 3, Criminal. I think those 2 songs right there are like just real solid, like hooky, catchy songs. Number 2 is Break the Silence with Sleep Theory, which Sleep Theory was on here for my albums of the year, but I decided to take it off because I think there were other records that deserved to be on this list. So yeah, Break the Silence I really liked a lot. And then my number 1 here is Some Things, because Some Things is like, it's a very relationship heavy song, and I like those songs a lot when they talk about like relationships and growing apart. Like that's what that song is about, Some Things. But yeah, it's a really solid record. Again, I give it a 7 out of 10 just because like it is like there are some songs I prefer over others. It's kind of like Set It Off's record a little bit, just there are songs that, you know, I prefer over others, but all in all, it's a solid record. It's really good. I'm glad I listened to it instead of like not listening to it. But yeah. So, anywho, moving on to the next record here, which is going to be number 8. This is also a first. There's a lot of firsts this year for, like, albums of the year being on this list. Like, I did listen to, I think, a couple of songs from this band, but I never fully listened to an album from them. And this is the first time I'm listening to their work, Of Mice and Men. So, pretty, like, actually a really cool record. Like every song like kept pulling me in, and like I don't know what this record did differently from their past records, but like man, I think like I genuinely just had a vibe. It was a fun time with this record. Super heavy, and there's just a lot of cool things with the whole thing. But yeah, this is the art. So you like it's a weird CD. You flip it open and then boom. Look at that. That's crazy. That's cool artwork, dude. That's sick. And then you got the back as well. But yeah, that is super cool. But yeah, man, without further ado, let's just jump into the album. So like the album itself, like one of the starting tracks is actually my favorite, which is really cool. But because there's some the starting track for Set It Off is on my top, but like yeah, this is like one of those I had a feeling that I would like the album before I listened to it because I had already heard some of the songs that came before the album. Like the number 1 on here is why I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep an eye out for the album when it drops. So going over just my top 5, Flowers is a really good one. 4, Wake Up. I like Wake Up a lot. Flowers and Wake Up are kind of like sleeper tracks almost on the album, but they are really good. I say sleeper tracks, Wake Up, Flowers. But no, those are some really good tracks. And then number 3, Troubled Water. I like Troubled Water a lot. Very good. A Waltz, which is the title track of this. Well, not the title track. The starting track of this album. I like the 1 2 3 1 2 3 thing. I think that's really clever. And then at number 1 is going to be Another Miracle, which is the title track of the album, but also is the best track on the album for me. It's just so catchy, so good. I don't know. Maybe on this album, I think the vocalist's name is Aaron. I like his screams a lot more on this record compared. I don't think I liked their other work. That's probably what it was. I didn't catch on to. I don't think I was interested in what they were making before this album. That's probably why. Like, I've finally started listening to them, and it's crazy. There's a lot of firsts on this album of the year that that I haven't had them on an album of the year before, which is crazy. I mean, but that's every year. Every year is going to be different for albums or artists or bands that I have on album of the year. But yeah, overall, again, I'd give this another 7 out of 10. They're kind of like the other 2 albums below. There are songs I prefer over others, and that is what it is. Not every song is going to be a banger on an album. But again, the order of why I have these things the way they are, you'll understand why. But yeah, man. And then without further ado, let's jump into the next one, because there's a lot to go through here, and I don't want to make this video insanely long, but it might be. Jumping into number 7, we got a returning band on this album of the year, and I'll briefly talk about their past album, because it definitely was a moment where I was like, yeah, I didn't really like it. It was kind of I liked the singles, and then the rest of the album kind of flopped for me. Caskets, The Only Heaven You'll Ever Know. I don't even know if I mentioned the other title of My Cement. Another Miracle. I mean, yeah, but Caskets, The Only Heaven You Will Ever Know. This album surprised me. It's a return to form for this band, and I feel like a lot of people need to know that is return to form. It's pretty freaking nuts that these guys did what they did. And jumping into I did a review of their last album, Reflections, and let me tell you, I mean this when I say it, I only like the singles that dropped off of this album. It's a 10 track album, and I only like the singles that dropped. Even then I only like some of the singles, and then any of the album tracks were a miss for me, and that's just how it was. Now, I listened to this album in full, The Only Heaven You'll Know, and it surprised me. It's literally a return to form for how these guys sounded when they dropped their first album. Now, what I'm guessing happened was they signed a deal where they had to release 2 albums pretty quickly within one another. But it's crazy because Lost Souls came out in 2021. That's their best work so far. I still think Lost Souls is going to be their best work. And then Reflections, I don't know. When that came, I feel like the album was rushed, but I think it had to be because they probably signed some deal they have to put out a second album. But The Only Heaven You'll Know feels like it was built over 4 years of time. I don't know, but it feels like a better record. It feels like a better record. I like it a lot. And I don't know what it is about it, but we'll just kind of dive into it, go over my top 5 with this record. And yeah, let's dive into it. So I think my top 5 here, and I think one of the reasons why I like this album so much is because Matt, the vocalist, is screaming. He's doing screams. I don't know if he did screams in Reflections. I don't think he did. Otherwise, I would have commented on it. But I don't remember if I did. But the screams on this record make the album. I think if you did not have the screams and variety he was doing in all these songs, of clean singing, harsh vocals, you would not have a good record here. But the first 3 tracks on here, they're on my top 5, are crazy. I'll just go over my top 5 right now. Number 5 is Sacrifice, which I like Sacrifice a lot. It's kind of a sleeper track, I think, for a lot of people. It's ba-da-boo. It's kind of a sleeper track. It goes a little It doesn't go crazier than everything else, but I do like it a lot. And then number 4 is Our Remedy featuring Make Them Suffer. Their album last year was one of my albums of the year. They made the track a lot better. I think if it was just Caskets, it wouldn't have been as good. But Our Remedy is so good. And then number 3, Make Me a Martyr, which was one of the singles that dropped. I like Make Me a Martyr because that introduces the screaming to the album. Be like, yeah, there's going to be some heavies on here. And I don't know, I really like that a lot. Number 2, Lost in the Violence is probably... Dude, I love Lost in the Violence. It's the opener for the album, and it is so good. It's like, this is how the album opens, you're going to love it. And it's a great album. It's phenomenal. But yeah, and then at number 1 is The Only Heaven You'll Know. I really like the lyrics. I like the vocals on it. It's such a good album. And this album's really like, it's pretty heavy in religion, but like it's not, I don't know. I really like the album regardless of like what you believe in, you know? I think it's a solid record. It's really freaking cool, man. It's such a return to form for the band, and I think you know, I'm glad they came out with this record instead of like another Reflections, you know? But if I had to give it a rating, it's gonna be an 8 out of 10. Just 'cause it's so solid, man. And I'm glad that they are on the album of the year again because Caskets is a really good band. They are really freaking cool, man. Now then, moving on to number 6 on the album of the year list. Now, just want to prep you guys here because this album, for one, I had to buy a bundle to even get a CD, which is kind of ridiculous. But I gotta show off what I'm wearing, you know? Look at this. Pretty sick, right? So this is an album shirt for the next album on this list, which is Our Last Night, Left Alone. Signed CD from the band. This is like probably their best album they have ever released. Like, I looked back at all their old work, and I was like, yeah, this is definitively them. Like, the album is called Left Alone. It's so freaking good. Did I even open Caskets' album? I should have done that. Sorry. There you go. Look at the freaking pretty art. Very cool. But, jumping into this, not only do I have a t-shirt and a signed copy of this album, I had to get a vinyl with the bundle, which I'm kind of annoyed that you had to buy a bundle in order to get the CD, but the album was that good. Like, it comes with a vinyl, man. Like, that is sick. And I don't know if I'm going to play it, but probably will. The back of this is so cool, and then I'll just show off the vinyl real quick. You got the title tracks there with all the lyrics, I think. Yeah, it's with all the lyrics as well. So pretty sick as well. But also the vinyl itself, I just saw it because I pulled it out by accident. Look at this, man. That's a pretty sick freaking vinyl, dude. Pretty freaking cool. It's like gold. I like it. I'm not super into vinyls, but like, you know, if they're there, they're there, you know? And I'll, you know, why not? Why not get a couple vinyls? I'm not going to buy like 20 million of them, but I'm going to have some to, you know, have with me. But yeah, so I just wanted to show that off because, you know, album of the year and stuff. But this is number 6 on my album of the year, which this album was higher, but more albums came out, and, you know, as they do, things change, right? So getting into this, this album is, again, it is their best work ever. I think Our Last Night did an incredible job with this. They also have a music video for every single track, and it tells a complete story. Now, I'm hoping that there's going to be more albums like this, more storytelling type of albums, because I think this is where they shine, is telling stories, you know? And yeah, man, just this entire album is phenomenal. I love the story it tells. Well, like, there's some parts of the story that I don't really understand. Like, I don't know, things get weird towards like the second half of the album, but, you know, there's some songs I like in there, but the story parts, I'm like, you know, they could have done better on, but, you know, they are an independent band and they can only do so much, but it's a phenomenal album. It's real good. And just looking at my top 5 here, number 5, Scared to Die. I like that song a lot. Number 4 is Better Than You. Number 3, Fences. And by the way, Better Than You and Fences are kind of like similar songs in like the instrumentation, I think. I'm pretty sure. I think so. Maybe I could be wrong, but they're very like acoustic tracks if I remember correctly. But then number 2, Left Alone, which is the title track of the album, really good song. And then number 1, Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave is I think Left Alone and Tidal Wave are probably my favorite tracks on the album, just the two of them, because of the story they tell. But Tidal Wave, I really like Tidal Wave a lot because I like the music video of just the songs. And I've talked about this album already, kind of. I've talked about how important the songs were that they made, and it's just a really solid album. Now, one thing I will say, which sucks, is Our Last Night is kind of muting Twitch streams, which is kind of unfortunate because, like, I'll play an Our Last Night song on stream and it'll get muted. So I don't play their music on my stream anymore, unfortunately, but they really did put out, like, a really solid record. And I know they're not touring anymore, which is kind of unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, regardless, they put out a banger of an album. If you don't think it's their best work, you're kind of wrong. I don't even know what's charting at. It's got, you know, it's up there. But you can tell which songs didn't do well. Like NPC, I think is probably the weakest track on this album. Just if I had to look at it, it is the weakest song, and it shows. It's kind of a weird song, you know. But anywho, if I had to rate the album, 8 out of 10. Just kind of like the Caskets album. It's a really solid record, and I really liked what they put together with this, with the storyline and everything. Really freaking cool, man. But again, Our Last Night, Left Alone, pretty sick. Now we're on the top 5 albums. Crazy. We're finally here. You get to know my top 5 albums of the year, and I don't know if these were hard. These were pretty self-explanatory on why these albums are good. And we've got a returning artist come back. And also, by the way, with Our Last Night, I think they were on my album of the year at one point. I forgot to mention this, but like I did take them off just because like I started going after like physical CDs, and Our Last Night didn't have one at the time. So this is kind of a first for Our Last Night being on here, you know? But moving on to number 5 on the album of the year is going to be MGK, Lost Americana. Literally his best work. Tickets to My Downfall is okay. I think it's like my second favorite album from him. And then like the other album he did, which was kind of pop punky, was like it was all right. It wasn't a great album. There were a lot of songs I did like on there, but like there's a lot of songs I didn't. This is MGK's most perfect record he's ever released, is in my opinion. Okay, it doesn't mean my opinion's the overall opinion. It's just what I think. I think this is the best thing he's ever released. It is so good, man. It's so good. It just is. And that, you know, that's all it'll be. But it's such a solid record. Again, I opened the Our Last Night CD, right? I did. I'm pretty sure. But this is the inside. Oh, he signed. I think he signed. That looks like a signature. He signed it. Pretty sick, dude. But yeah, super solid record. Really, really cool. I don't know, man. I think it's his best work. I really do. And just getting into it. Man, it's what, like, there's so many songs in here. All these songs are different. Like, there's not the vibe of this album. It's like an evolution of every single sound he's ever done, is the best way to put it. You know, it's just like, it's a solid record from start to finish. I've listened to the full thing a lot. It's just so good. And I would never listen to Tickets to My Downfall again. If there was one album I could pick, it would be this one over anything else to listen to for the rest of my life from him, you know? It's just a really solid record. And getting into my top 5 here, Number 5 being Cliche. Cliche is kind of like, I remember when that came out and people were like, what's he doing? Like, but I really liked it. I don't know. I really like that song a lot. It's really cool. Number 4 is Vampire Diaries. I think that's kind of similar to like Cliche, but it's such a solid song. I like it a lot. Number 3, Sweet Coraline. I like that song. It's just like, you know, Sweet Coraline, I'm hanging by a thread. I don't know. I like that song a lot. And then number 2 and number 1 kind of play hand in hand. Like number 2, Can't Stay Here. I like that song. And like, I don't know, just the vibe of it seems like really chill. And then Treading Water is my number 1 favorite song on this record. It's just, that's like his most emotional song, I think. Same thing with Can't Stay Here, but like there's a lot of emotion on this album. You can tell he put a lot of work into this album, but also like, I like how it says Lost Americana, and then he's got like kind of the American flag as like the cover of the album. But no, overall this record was super sick, and if I had to give it a rating, it would be an 8 out of 10. It's the best work he's put out. And I hope he puts out more work like this, but I've heard through the grapevine that he's doing a rap album, so I don't know if I'm gonna listen to that. I think I might pass on it, but I don't know. I mean, I like his rap work, but I do think this was his best stuff so far. So yeah, but anywho, moving on to album number 4 on the list. And so MGK returning, but we have a new band artist on the list here, which is number 4. And this, for me personally, this album, I'm gonna drink something so I can breathe. Hold on. For me personally, this album came out of nowhere. Like literally, I got a recommendation on YouTube for one of their songs, and I was like, this is a banger. And I put them on the list for albums I was going to listen to, and I bought myself a CD. Dury, This Movie Sucks. Actually, such a good record. Like I was really blown away when I was listening to it. I was like, this is so good. It's actually probably one of the most underrated albums on this list. Maybe one of the most underrated albums of the year. It's so good. If you don't listen to this, freaking listen to this album. Do it. Listen to this album now, dude. It's so good. Like, I love the album a lot. I really do. Like, the song that I heard first was I Don't Know, I Just Work Here. And the music video for that's great, but this band has a vibe that I feel like I've been missing all my life, you know? Like, it's just a really solid record. It is so good, and we're gonna get into it because I need to talk about this. This album is incredible. It's actually, like, This Movie Sucks is the title of it, but it's so good. These guys are independent, I don't think. No, because if they were, golly. But no, they have a vibe. It's kind of like this album I kind of compare to MGK's Lost Americana. Not in the same vein of like there's rap on there. There's like, it's kind of like a punk record. And it's got a lot of different vibes, kind of like MGK's record, but not in the same vein. But it's got a lot of different vibes. And I love this album, man. It's so good. It's so good. And we're gonna talk about the top 5 tracks here. Number 5 is Wannabe. I love Wannabe. Number 4, Polaroid. Friendships we don't reckon. That Polaroid is such a nostalgic track. I love that song. I love that song a lot. Number 3, More Dumb, which I just love the concept of like get a little more dumb. Like if we just get a little bit more dumb, we won't have to do anything, you know? It's kind of what it is. But number 2 is actually the title track for me. This Movie Sucks. Because I love the lyrics. My life is a movie that I don't want to watch. I love that. I love that so much. And you could even, like, This Movie Sucks. Like, I almost feel like they could have done the I Don't Know, I Just Work Here thing at a movie theater, kind of tying into the album track, but it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, number 2, This Movie Sucks. And then number 1 being I Don't Know, I Just Work Here. God, man, that song is a banger because I work in retail, and by golly, I say I don't know, I just work here in my head every day. It's crazy. it's wild, it's insane. But solid album, just so solid. And if I had to give the album a rating, it's gonna be an 8 out of 10. I just feel like, I don't know, the album's not perfect. Again, there's some songs I prefer over others, but it is a really solid record. It was one of my more surprising records of the year that I listened to. So shout out to Dury for being for the first time being on the album of the year for me, which is really cool. But yeah, moving on to the top 3 albums of the year for me personally. Number 3, man. Number 3, the top 3 albums, which weren't that hard to pick. Actually, again, like, picking the order of these albums was not difficult. Next year, though, oh man, you better believe I'm gonna struggle. But coming in at number 3 is Architects. Sky, the Earth, and All Between. This is their best record. I've never listened, I listened to Architects' last record and I didn't like it. I just didn't. But that's just me, not my favorite thing they've put out. This, however, is their best work. I say that with confidence, dude. Like, look, this thing's pretty. Very cool. This album's sick. Like, it's a return to form for the band, I think, and it kind of man, it should have been their self-title track, because it really is their best stuff that they put out. And I don't know, I really like the first song that came off of this is actually my number 1, which we will talk about. But just jumping into it, I'm losing my voice here because I'm talking about these albums. They're so good. Something I really liked about this record was when Curse came out. Everyone learned that Jordan Fish from Bring Me the Horizon, which Bring Me the Horizon's last album was on my album of the year. Jordan Fish worked on this album with Sam Carter, which is really cool, the vocalist of Architects. So I'm glad that he got to work on this record, and it's a solid record. And there's a reason it's in my top 3, because every single song has its own vibe, but also every single song hits on this record. It just does. And again, there's some songs I prefer over others, but that's, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But jumping in to the top 5 songs. Number 5, Everything Ends. I love Everything Ends. It's great. It's phenomenal. Number 4, Broken Mirror. I like that song a lot because I'm a broken mirror. It's great. Number 3, which is the intro to this whole album, which is crazy. It's actually the title track of the album, funny enough. Elegy. Or Elegy. Probably Elegy. And then number 2, Black Hole. Black Hole is just phenomenal. I love that one a lot. And then coming in at number 1 is Seeing Red. Seeing Red's crazy. And that's when I heard that track, I'm like, oh, whatever album this is gonna be on is gonna be a banger. Because that first track was there's so much packed into it that it's almost the standout track of the record. But the album ends with Chandelier, which Chandelier is probably my least favorite track on this album. But yeah, every song on this album hits. It's just so good. But yeah, man, this is Architects' best work, and I say that not I've only listened to one of their other albums, and that's my own fault because I got into this music late, but it is their best work so far, I will say, and their best work by far, kind of like MGK, But if I had to give the album a rating, it's gonna be a 9 out of 10 because there's more songs on here that I like than I prefer not to listen to, But it is their best work yet. So, without further ado, getting into the number 2, not number 1, number 2, the second album of the year in this list. The second album that I liked a lot. I did. I actually talked about this album earlier in the year. And the reason I talked about the album is because there was something really different about this album that I really liked compared to their last album, because I did talk about that one. I was like, yeah, you know, I can't really, like, I go back and forth with this record. Like, I like it or I don't. But this record is honestly their best work. So, without further ado, number two, the second album of the year, Sleep Token, even in Arcadia, their best work. I'll say that with confidence, man. It is their best work. It's so good. It's freaking neat, dude. Like, it's such a good record. I love it a lot. With Sleep Token's last album, Take Me Back to Eden, I struggled to like that album. Because there were songs I liked, there were songs I didn't like, and, like, at the end of the day, I came to a conclusion, like, I don't like this album. Like, that was just me, you know? If I went back and forth on it, it just wasn't my album of the year, you know? And that is what it is. There's good songs in there, but I don't know if I consider it a good record, you know? And that's just me. It is what it is, you know? But getting into my top 5 tracks off of Even in Arcadia. My top 5 here. Number 5, Gethsemane. That track is brutal, by the way. If you've heard it, oh my god. Like, that's like, you know what's funny? Like, I have listened to Sleep Token's entire discography. Gethsemane feels like Sleep Token's most honest track from Vessel. Like, that's probably the most honest song that dude's ever written. Just hands down, because there's so much revealed in that song. There's so much talked about. It's his most honest song. And it's crazy, man. It's wild. It's a heartbreaking song. It really is. Number 4, Emergence. Emergence coming out at number 4. That's the first single that released, but it is my you know, I don't know. I put it above Gethsemane, but I wouldn't put it above anything else, you know? But it is a solid song a lot. I like it a lot. I like was it like a saxophone in the end bit of it, but it's such a good record. There's also a lot more rap and vibes on this record too, compared to like Take Me Back to Eden, you know? And that's probably why I like this record a lot. But getting into number 3, Caramel. Caramel is just so good. It's also kind of another revealing song. Not as heavy as Gethsemane, but kind of like Caramel, because I think that song goes over the fans, I'm pretty sure. But either way, it's such a good record. Or such a good song, sorry. But yeah, number 3 is Caramel, and number 2, Past Self. Like, I think Past Self is probably the most underrated. Well, maybe Provider is the most underrated song on this record, but Past Self, I love the vibe of it. Like, that's just it. I love the vibe of that song, and it's just bouncy. You know, it's a pretty bouncy song, but I like that song a lot. It goes on a little journey, you know. But coming in at number 1 is Damocles. Damocles is my favorite song off of this record, like, hands down. It's just a perfect rock ballads. Well, not ballad, but perfect rock song, you know. And that's what really makes me like it a lot, is just like, there's nothing I don't like about it, you know. But it's close to a perfect record as Sleep Token could get. And I don't know if I'm gonna like their next stuff. I have no idea. But I really like Even in Arcadia a lot. I do. It's such a solid record. And if I had to give it a rating, it's gonna be a 9 out of 10. There again, Provider, Dangerous, Infinite Baz, like, those songs kind of didn't listen to as much as like the other songs, but overall I think it's Sleep Token's best record for sure. Like, it's like I couldn't get into Take Me Back to Eden, but I was able to get into Even in Arcadia. So, and also the visuals off of this album, incredible. There's a medieval vibe to it. I talked about it this year, you know, I really did, and it's so good. But now we got to get to the number 1 end-all be-all album of the year for me, because I almost thought it would have been impossible to have like a perfect album this year. And usually I'm always surprised, you know. You go back to my other albums of the year, like Reality 2020, Therefore Tomorrow's A Little Faster was my number 1. 2021 was Dark and Beautiful Secrets by Normandy. You go to 2022, True Power by a Prevail was my number one. You go to 2023, NF Hope was my number one. You go 2024, Echo Pressure. There's these albums that come out of nowhere, man, that are the greatest things you've ever heard. Getting into my number one album of the year here, it's kind of a wild one. That's so funny to say. It's kind of a wild album of the year. The Pretty Wild, 0 Point Genesis. Actually a perfect album. I was blown away when I heard this thing for the first time. While I was playing Marvel Rivals, listening to this, and I was doing the zombies mode. What a perfect album to listen to when you're doing that. But yeah, man, this is actually, I got a different kind of CD, so I have a cover for this, but you push it out. Pretty sick, right? So cool, man. This is a first for Sleep Token being on this album of the year, but also my number one album of the year being Pretty Wild. This is a new band for me to listen to. It's their first album too, like wild, and first time being on the album of the year. And this is the inside of the art, pretty sick, pretty cool. But man, I've never dude. I mean, last year, Echo's album, I loved every song off of that. Every song was perfect on that. NF's Hope, not everything was perfect, but I liked every song. Same thing with True Power by a Prevail. Same thing with Normandy, Dark and Evil Secrets. These albums are magical, man. There's albums that just don't miss. This is one of them. Dude, the title track, which is also my number one favorite song. Not the title track, sorry. The first track off the album starts with Tear Off My Skin, Rip It Off. That's a crazy start to an album. If you're going to start it like that, man, it's wild. Also, this CD comes with a bonus track, which is Sleepwalker, which I guess is their biggest song. I can see why. It's really good. But getting into this album, man, none of these songs miss. And that is wild. The fact that none of the songs miss. I could not believe that when I heard this album. I was like, how is every song getting better? You know? I think the only song that I don't listen to as much is probably Priestess, because it's just straight screams, but every song hits on this album. And it's apparently two sisters run this band, which is crazy. The fact that they both wanted to do music is wild. But no, man, this is a solid album. I think my top 5 off of here, which we're gonna go over, is number 5, 0 Point Genesis, the title track. I like that song a lot. These are these songs that, even though every song on this album is a banger, these top 5 were just truly bangers. 0 Point Genesis, the title track. I love that song a lot. Number 4, Button Eyes. Button Eyes is really cool. Just because it's rip out these button eyes. I think that song talks a lot about being fake, putting on a fake face and just being fake. I think that's what that song is about, but I could be wrong, you know? And coming in at number 3, Afterlife, featuring Magnolia Park, which that band is pop punk, but they have shifted into being more heavy. That band shifts a lot. They really do. But Afterlife is definitely one of my favorites off of this record. I love the I love that. That's so sick. That whole part. But the chorus still hits too. But number 2 is gonna be Omens. I love Omens, and then Paradox, which are Omens is number 2. Number 1 is Paradox. Those 2 songs are driving songs. You play that, you go a little fast, man. It just feels like you're racing. You know, those are racing songs to me. But man, Omens is so good and Paradox is so good. I think my favorite parts of those songs, not only are the choruses, but whenever, I don't know the main, I want to say main vocalist, but I don't know her name, but one of the vocalists on their, she does a lot of the shorts on their channel, but whenever she raps on this record, which I think is only twice, dude, solid rapping skills. I love the rapping on this album, and I want to see more of that. I think in their next record, whenever they drop that, which will be probably in 2 years, knowing release scheduling. But actually, man, 0 Point Genesis is again, giving it a rating, it's a 10 out of 10 record. Like, this does not miss for me. It is such a good album. It is so good, man. It's just the best. It's the best record, and every year is gonna have the best record for me. Like, I already have an idea of what my next best record is going to be, which, you know, if I had to like say them, like, I only have three like artists / bands for 2026 listed that could be my next album of the year for 2026. But I know Bad Omens is on there because everything they've been dropping has been solid. Don Broco, which is like that would be a new band for an album of the year. They are solid as well. Like, everything they've been dropping has been good. And then Low Spirit. I really want Low Spirit's album to drop so bad. He's got it done. He's releasing it slowly. I'm just a little impatient for that, but I think Low Spirit's album is going to be my album of the year next year. That's my gamble. That's my bet, but I don't know because the future is not written yet, you know? But, man, this has been Reality 2025. I truly loved all the albums that were on this list. Just, I loved one album over the other a little bit more, you know? But it's crazy how good all the albums were. But 0 Point Genesis taking the cake, man. It's just a 10 out of 10 record. And if you don't believe that, you're wrong, you know? But anywho, that's going to be the video for today. But thank you guys for watching, hanging out. I appreciate it a ton. And I will see you guys for more music next year. And yeah, goodbye.